What immediately tells you someone is a trashy parent? Hey people of Reddit, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into something straight from the wild world of Reddit. You guessed it. We got a compilation of stories from r/askreddit that'll give us the lowdown on what screams trashy parent louder than anything else. Now, we're not here to judge, but some stories just make you go, wait, seriously. From the funny to the facepalm worthy, these Reddit tales spill the beans on those moments that make you wonder if some folks miss the Parenting 101 handbook. So, grab your snacks and get ready for some jaw-dropping moments. Before we go to the first story, please hit a subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Number 15. Your adult children don't talk to you, and you don't know why. I went no contact with my parents because of my mother, and I texted her while using clear examples of her behavior. I texted her because the one time I tried to tell her verbally, she screamed at me to stop talking. She's going around now telling everyone. I don't know why she won't talk to us. Number 14. Mothers who sees their daughter as competition. This is how my wife's stepmom was to her. Dad always agreed with stepmom and my wife got kicked out when she was 17. Stepmom accused my wife of stealing a pair of socks, and apparently that's all that was needed to kick her out. Sounds like my friend from college. She was the youngest with two older brothers. The brothers were treated like saints, but she was treated like an obligation for literally no reason. Absolutely dunked on by her mom. She was finally booted from the house at 18 for not reacting positively enough to the sexy Jesus painting her mother commissioned for like $12,000. I do not. It was a naked Jesus, moaning on the cross with 0% body fat, absolutely yoked. She paid her way through college despite her family being worth millions and living in or Los Angeles. They never gave her a dime. Her family is wild. Sexy Jesus is just one of many crazy things I've learned lol. Number 13. Taking the emotions of your child, first crushes, embarrassing moments that they talk with you about, are unsure about, worries they have, etc., and using it at a family gathering to get a laugh out of everybody. Your child will be so embarrassed because of you and will not talk to you in the future. I'm 30 and my mother still does this to me sometimes. The difference today is I will talk back in front of the whole family and suddenly she is embarrassed. When I was in my 20s, any person I was serious about enough to bring home my mom thought was a great opportunity to bag on me in front of. It was embarrassing and a little demoralizing, but I thought, I'm an adult, I can take a little healthy criticism. I tried to just laugh along. One day I, reluctantly, brought home a new boyfriend, and when my mom tried the usual, he looked confused and said, I'm sorry, I don't find that funny. That's it. Simple and to the point. My mom looked like she just found out she's in a shoal, because she did, and I'll never forget the look on her face. She doesn't do that anymore and I've been married to the guy for 16 years. Yeah, don't bag on your kids in front of other people for laughs. It just makes you a bully, and you're the one who's supposed to protect your kids from bullies. Number 12. Punishing kids with haircuts, less food, less attention, or taking their door. Especially for things like asking too many questions or talking back, just because they didn't understand something and wanted a real reason or explanation on why they had to do/could not do something. Number 11. Complains every day at work that they can't afford to take care of their kid properly. Blaming her own parents that they don't help out enough. Also complains about being hungover every day and brags about buying a PlayStation and a puppy. Number 10. Taking your 5-month-old baby to the movie theater. First, the decibels in there must be so high to feel like that can't be good for their hearing, and 2, just feeling entitled to ruin 50+ other people's experience when your baby starts crying. I'm a parent of 2, and I couldn't imagine taking them to a movie theater before they were a few years old. Number 9. Parents who never check up on their kid. My son had a friend in grade school who always wanted to spend the night at our house during school vacation. I was home so it was cool, but I always asked him to call his mom in front of me for permission. After about 9 days in a row I called her myself just to be sure and she yelled at me saying, he already called, and I said, After that I decided to make a coffee date with her. She was very nice, but she did say, he's going to be a criminal when he grows up. I was stunned a mom could say that about a kid. This is when I learned the notion kids are crying for limits. It turns out this boy liked our house over his own because we had routines around eating and sleeping, and his house was utter chaos. His mom thought he misbehaved a lot, but with me he was fine. She was and still is trash. Number 8. Insulting your kids, even as a joke. It just doesn't sit right with me. Seemingly younger generations of parents tend to do this. Like sure, they may love their kid and joke around with them, etc. But I don't know, man. I imagine it might make a kid subconsciously feel like a burden, and that's not a great upbringing thing. Number 7. I gave a kid in my neighborhood $20 for helping me and my kids deal with some leaves in the backyard. The kid is 11. His parents don't really pay much attention to him. Whenever I gave him that money, I told him to put it in his pocket, don't let anyone have it, and make sure he spent it on whatever he wanted. I saw him 2 days after I gave him that money. Asked him how school went, etc. I asked if he had a chance to spend his money, and he told me his dad took it for gas money, but in return gave the kid a $10 gift card and a promise to pay it back on Thursday. I don't know this kid's parents personally, but I really hope to never meet that dad. I've been that kid with parents who barely made ends meet / took the money that I earned and never gave it back. Number 6. Leaving their kids / at their grandparents always. I'm talking like 5 to 6 days a week for nearly the full day. I've seen this with people who are working, but actually really out with friends or the person they're dating. My sister was a prime example of this, and I see it with a friend now too. Children remember this kind of stuff. Number 5. When I was younger, I saw a mother and a little daughter on a train. The mother was scrolling her phone and the daughter was bored and started a song. It was very quiet singing and she had a good voice. No problem, but the mom started to hush her daughter to stop singing. Then the daughter asked, does her mother love her? Can she get a hug? Something. Mother just told her to be quiet and kept scrolling. It hurt me. I wish I could just have stood up and hugged that little kid. Show her that she is not alone. That she is loved, no matter what. But 20-something dude hugging little girl in a train seemed to be wrong to me at that time. So I just cried a bit, silently, and I think about that little girl and how her life is even years later. I sometimes really hate some parents, because they seem to be kids themselves, without any clue about pretty much anything. Number 4. Saw a little girl about 4 or 5 walking into a pizzeria with her parents who were arguing. Her hair was so matted it was starting to dread in the back. I had my teen daughter with me. We both just wanted to take the little girl home with us. Added to add, the parents had an aura of being active drug users. This wasn't accidental matting. I felt terrible, but I guess the good side is that they were together. I hope the parents get the help they need. Number 3. This is very, very specific, but had both parents bring in their 6-year-old boy and their other younger kid to our ED. Mom and the 6-year-old were checking in. He had cut his toes several days ago, and I guess hadn't told them. Parents refused to help him answer questions, and not in a we're fostering independence way. Not only was their refusal to help him holding up triage and making other patients wait longer, but they were so belittling. Talk. What's wrong with you? You don't know how to answer her questions? To me, well, he did this 2 days ago apparently, but didn't tell us, so now he's made it worse and is inconveniencing the whole family. Mom was also checking in for a literal pregnancy test. They didn't even offer to help out when I asked if he was UTD on his tetanus shot. As though their vaccine schedule is something most 6-year-olds keep track of. To add to this, there were several other patients in triage screening were vomiting, which I'm quite sure made a stranger asking him questions that seemed to get him punished every time he answered, even more overwhelming. I took them to the back. The nurse that had them said the parents completely ignored their children, knocking on other patients' doors and running away, playing on stretchers, etc. Also said the dad, not a patient, stood in the hallway, shaking a cup of ice at no one in particular, and when she walked by to go into an actual patient's room, he loudly went, well, I guess I'll just walk over here and get my own water since no one wants to give me any. Not once did he ask for any water, and he was also standing 5 feet away from a water machine that is freely available to patients and he had used prior to. Gonna get myself riled up all over again because the entitlement is my pet peeve, but treating your child like this in a situation that is scary and unfamiliar when they are already in pain is despicable to me. Number 2. My daughter's teacher called one day to tell us our daughter was bullying another student so relentlessly that he was afraid to come to school. We talked to our daughter and she had no idea what we were talking about. Whenever we asked the teacher for the student's name, she actually gave it to us. Turns out I know his mother from high school. So I called her and talked with her, and at first she had no idea what I was talking about. Then she suddenly remembered everything and told me this long story about how her son is afraid of my daughter, blah, blah, blah. I talked with one of this lady's friends a few days later, and she told me that this lady confessed to her that she just doesn't get enough sleep, always misses her alarms in the morning, and just doesn't get up to take her kids to school. Her first instinct when the school called her to talk about absences was to blame my daughter for bullying her kid. Number 1. Parents who can't apologize to a child. It's odd to have human emotions in moment to be triggered or struggling and lash out or be wrong, but for the love of all things could apologize and change. My dad is a good dad. He can be very tough and yell at you and never admit he's wrong. He can make you feel 3 inches tall. But he always sees the error of his ways and admits his mistakes and apologized always. My mom is quiet and very controlled and passive-aggressive. She comes across as fair and gentle. I'm 43 years old, and even after doing or saying terrible things to me, her only child, things when my dad and her friends even tell her are wrong or she owes me an apology, she has never apologized to me ever in 43 years. She will apologize to my dad or friends, but not me, and she's never admitted to me she was wrong, and I was right. Alright folks, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us on this wild Reddit ride. We hope you had a blast exploring these stories that gave us a peek into what defines a trashy parent according to the Reddit community. Remember, these are just anecdotes shared anonymously, so take it all with a grain of salt. But hey, it's always fun to see the crazy, surprising, and downright unbelievable moments people share. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. And hey, if you've got your own wild stories or thoughts on today's topic, drop them in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay awesome, stay curious, and see you in the next video.